when online your safety is nothing but an illusion. It's the story of a depraved young man named Tyler Barriss and how he used the internet, and more specifically the act of swatting, to strike fear into the hearts of his enemies, both online and offline. However, what begins as an intimidating prank—
Bro, hold on, bro. How do you swat people, bro? Someone explain to me, how do you swat people, bro? Like, how do you get the cops pulling up to someone's house and shit, bro? Like, how do you do that? Like, you call them and be like, oh, I feel like there's a drug corporation going on at 123 Elvis Street. Is like that how you do it? Like, how do you swat people, bro? Like, I really want to know.
like tactic eventually—
not like I'm gonna use it or something. I just want to know.
turns lethal. This is the case of Tyler Barriss, the world's most infamous swatter. Before Tyler Raj Barriss would become a known cybercriminal, he was nothing more than an unremarkable Los Angeles teenager, albeit with a kind of tragic family backstory. As far as a mother and father went, Tyler didn't really have parents. His father died in a car accident when Tyler was an infant, and his mother wasn't around either, instead reportedly involving herself in the world of drugs and prostitution. The responsibility of raising Tyler fell in the lap of his grandmother, Wendy Gregory. At a young age, Tyler was described as a loner, and it's been said that he preferred spending most of his time immersed in media. In particular, he would play video games in excess, a practice that would carry into adulthood. In his early 20s, Barriss played games so much that he would rarely leave his house, foregoing socialization in an effort to get better at the games that he played. Halo was his favorite game series, and in an effort to get better at the game, he dedicated practically every waking—
You said what? Nah, you gotta say you shot a family member in the head and now holding my mom and my brother in the closet with a gun to their head. I just gasoline all over the house. I might just set it on fire. Hurry up and send somebody over here. Some shit like that. Damn, bro, you hella detailed with it, nigga. Like this nigga done it before. That's crazy.
hour of his day to it. Tyler grinded out this FPS in the hopes that maybe one day he would be good enough to participate in Halo tournaments. You know, perhaps win cash prizes and become a pro gamer. But practice as he may, Tyler was simply not cut out to be a pro Halo player. He just wasn't good. If anything, the only thing relating to Halo that he was actually good at was the trash-talking element.
Hey, Death Warden. Fuck you.
As Tyler was often one of the most vocal and vitriolic players in a Halo lobby at any given time. And it's on one fateful evening in February of 2015 when Tyler is in one of these toxic matches that he experiences what could be described as his supervillain origin story. It's been reported that on this particular evening, Tyler got into a heated altercation with a rival on Halo that led to him being swatted. The story goes that an anonymous individual had discovered Barriss's address after the game, and wanting to settle a score with Tyler, this person makes a call to Barriss's local police department. Posing as Tyler, they tell a fake story to dispatchers that likely made it seem as if Tyler was about to harm one of his family members. Naturally, police would respond, and minutes later, Tyler, totally unaware of what's happening, observes a police helicopter hovering over his house, and police lights and sirens soon follow. The police were fooled and were used as a weapon by an anonymous online individual to get back at Tyler, and they didn't face any sort of recourse for this.
Me and my grandmother, we got swatted by an anonymous person. I still don't know who that person is. When because I guess I knew it was a thing, but it's nothing I've ever experimented with until it happened to me.
While most people would become meek after experiencing such a distressing event, being swatted only served as a source of inspiration for Tyler. He had heard about gamers being swatted before, but being on the receiving end of it gave him a unique understanding of the power that it could give someone and the terror that it could create. And Tyler wanted that power for himself. So in the wake of being swatted, Tyler dedicates his time to learning the tricks of the trade, becoming an expert with VPNs and voice over IP so that he can hide his online identity from law enforcement. He finds voice altering software and creates pre-written scripts to give to 911 dispatchers. Tyler discovers social manipulation tactics and discovers ways of grabbing online IP addresses from his rivals online. And after grinding out swatting abilities over what was likely a span of days, Tyler was now prepared to become one of the most notorious swatters in internet history. Before the name Tyler Barriss would become an infamous name known to the public, Tyler was primarily known by his feared online alias Swatistic. This 24-year-old physically unimpressive social outcast would essentially become a god of chaos when he masqueraded as the entity on the internet. The name Swatistic being very blatantly derived from the despicable practice that he used to harass people online. And for the record, he didn't have autism. 2015 would begin with swatting being a relatively niche and misunderstood concept. But by the end of it, it was ubiquitous, and you can thank Tyler Barriss for that.
You're getting swatted, what in the world?
Put your hands up! Put your hands up!
That's crazy.
Tyler, under his Swatistic alias, began swatting people in 2015 over matters as simple as being shit-talked in an online FPS. Tyler would find a way to pull their IP address, determine the city they lived in, call their local police department, and make a call saying something along the lines of, "Hey, I just shot my little brother, I'm gonna do something else, come to the house."
Can you tell me why you're...
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, because I'm upset with some people. They got me mad, so now they're going to pay for it.
SWAT teams would then arrive at his victim's home, storm the property with guns drawn, only to find an innocent gamer sitting panicked at their computer desk. Many of Tyler's victims were live streamers, meaning that he would also get the sadistic pleasure of watching his victims getting swatted in real time after he made the calls. It was all a twisted game for Tyler, a game that caused great trauma for his victims and a game that wasted the thin resources of police departments around the United States. Beginning with petty gaming rivals and live streamers, Tyler builds up confidence and becomes more brazen and ambitious with his swatting goals. He goes as far as targeting TV stations and gaming tournaments with anonymous bomb threats.
Also breaking right now, a bomb threat at the Kay Bailey Hutchison Convention Center. The Call of Duty World League Championship is happening there this week. Everyone inside involved with the expo was evacuated from the building.
These locations were specifically targeted by Tyler due to the high likelihood of the aftermaths being reported on by journalists or perhaps live streamed.
So we are all being evacuated from the building right now. No clue what happened, but yeah, this is
Damn, bro, it was like that?
It's unusual for those who report the news to become the news. Well, that's what happened today to the staff at KABC in Southern California. The station had to do its 4 o'clock newscast from a lawn down the street after a bomb threat forced everyone in that building to evacuate.
The chaos that Tyler was causing had become palpable in the real world. And he had become high off of his own power and addicted to the cyber crimes that he participated in. But he did fly too close to the sun with the bomb threat on the TV station, as what happens after this ends up with Tyler getting a serious reality check. See, while on a complete power trip, Tyler becomes so delusional that he actually brags to his own grandmother about threatening the news station. Previously unaware of his online criminal activity, grandmother Wendy was deeply disturbed by the apathetic sadism displayed by her grandson, and she would go on to secretly report Tyler to the police over the bomb threat. Wendy's report would ultimately lead to Tyler Barriss being arrested and investigated for the TV station incident. Tyler was charged with 2 felony counts related to making false bomb threats. And he would actually get locked up for this. Tyler pleads no contest to his charges and is sentenced to serve 2 years and 8 months in jail. His online rampage was stopped. For the time being. In January of 2017, Tyler is released early from LA County Jail after only serving 15 months. Upon being released, Tyler attempts to go back to his grandmother's house, but soon discovers that she had issued a legal protective order against him, and he was forbidden from the home. Tyler would aggressively insist on staying at the house and even reportedly got inside of it at one time. This violation of the protection order would result in Tyler almost immediately being thrown back in jail. He was released later in 2017 in August. Because of his own actions, the last family member that he had that supported him had now forsaken him. Now bitter, homeless, and angry, Tyler would turn to an old familiar friend to get revenge on the world once again. His online alias Swatistic. In a truly crackhead turn of events, Tyler then begins using public libraries around Los Angeles as a staging ground for his swatting activities. Using the computers and public Wi-Fi at these facilities, he starts a new campaign against the internet. Throughout 2017, Tyler would go on to swat numerous individuals for a variety of petty reasons, and late in the year, he would perpetrate one of his most heinous bomb threats yet. It was an eerily delivered bomb threat issued to a school filled with hundreds of children. This was Tyler's 911 call to Arnold High School in Panama City, Florida.
Yeah, I left some bombs at my high school and they're going to blow up in 15 minutes.
What school is it?
Arnold High.
Where are they at?
Well, there's more than one. I kind of distributed them around the campus. It's dynamite. My dad works with dynamite, so I have access to it.
Can you tell me why you're doing this?
Yeah, because I'm upset with some people. They got me mad, so now they're going to pay for it. And I also have a gun, too. Me and my friend both have guns.
Are you at the school?
Yes, I am.
Fake, bro.
I'm going to hang up now. There's only about 10 minutes left, so...
Tyler's call would force the entire student body to evacuate, and the threat would make national news headlines. Around this time, Tyler would orchestrate another high-profile bomb threat hoax. In the midst of the net neutrality controversy in late 2017, Barriss would call in a bomb threat to the FCC headquarters in Washington, D.C. This was during a live-streamed voting event which featured FCC Chairman Ajit Pai himself. Barriss's threat would result in the entire Federal Communications building being evacuated.
Damn! This nigga was a menace, bro.
Not take anything out of here except for your body.
This live-streamed incident was viewed by tens of thousands around the world. Clearly, jail time did nothing to curb Tyler's tendencies. In all honesty, he was worse after jail than he was before. Around this time, the Swatistic Twitter account would become flush with braggadocious banter from Tyler. From gloating about successful swats to shit-talking enemies and threatening individuals publicly, the page became an online spectacle, with thousands of people tuning in to watch the chaos unfold. Swatistic would become so well known on Twitter for his swatting practices that other depraved individuals would actually solicit his services from time to time, using Swatistic as a sort of swatter for hire hitman service, if you will. Most people offered him money for these services, but Tyler enjoyed swatting so much that he would often do it for free. He reveled in inflicting trauma upon others and serving as an agent of chaos. As you can clearly see, by late 2017, things had completely gotten out of hand, and it was only a matter of time before a true tragedy took place. Which brings us to the night of December 28th of 2017. On this evening, two online gaming teams, LOL and Nuke Children, are participating in a money match of Call of Duty World War II. With the wager only being $1.50, the stakes were low, but as with any team-based FPS, emotions ran high. The match would conclude with Nuke Children taking the win, and the members of LOL were left pointing fingers at each other, blaming one another for the loss. Two LOL team members in particular had a serious falling out over the loss. Those two individuals being Cincinnati teenager Casey Viner, who went by the alias Vaporizer, and another teenager, Shane Gaskill, aka Miracle, from Wichita, Kansas. The two would take to Twitter with their squabbling, lobbing insults back and forth and saying stuff along the lines of, hey, if we met in real life, I would kick your ass, you know, shit like that. And this heated gamer talk really boils over and starts to get extremely personal. Eventually, Casey Viner, I guess really wanting to prove a point, hits up Swatistic on Twitter and asks him if there was anything he could do about this Shane guy for him. The Swatistic account would then follow Shane Gaskill's Twitter profile. Seeing this followed by a known swatter as a threat, Shane then brazenly sends a flurry of messages to Swatistic and even shares his address with the known swatter, daring him to do something. And well, let's just say Swatistic was happy to offer his services. Tyler gets to work swatting the address he was given by Shane and makes the following 911 call to Wichita, Kansas police.
I recently got disconnected. I had told you guys everything that happened about the argument with my mom and dad.
Okay. What's your address?
Yeah, it's 1033 West McCormick Street.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
They were arguing and I shot him in the head and he's not breathing anymore.
Okay, do you have any weapons on you?
Yeah, I do.
What kind of weapons do you have?
A handgun. Pointing the gun at them, making sure they stay in the closet. My mom and my little brother.
Okay, is there any way you can put the gun up?
No. Are you guys sending someone over here? Because then I'm definitely not going to put it away.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and stay on the phone with you, okay?
That sounds fake.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm thinking about, because I already poured gasoline all over the house. I might just set it on fire.
Okay, well, we don't need to do that, okay?
After receiving the distressing 911 call, police would make their way to the address with a SWAT unit. However, what police, Tyler Barriss, and Casey Viner didn't realize at the time was that Shane Gaskill had lied about his address. It was actually an old address, and there was another tenant living at this old address.
Damn.
The current tenant at 1033 West McCormick Street was actually a man completely unrelated to the matter, 28-year-old Andrew Finch, who lived there with several family members, including children. While two gamers in a heated altercation might be able to better prepare for a SWAT, this man had no idea it was coming. When SWAT teams arrived, they demanded the occupants of the home to step outside. Andrew Finch, startled and confused, opens his front door and slowly steps out to blinding police lights. The man was by all means compliant. However, while walking outside, a policeman named Justin Rapp claimed to have seen Andrew Finch reach toward his waistband. Perceiving this as an attempt to draw a firearm, the officer shoots Mr. Finch in front of his family. The man falls to the ground, mortally wounded. After shooting the man, the SWAT team would storm the residence, not finding anything described in the 911 call. And it's at this moment they realized they had been duped. An innocent man had been shot. Andrew Finch would be rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately, he passed away from his gunshot wound. The treachery of Tyler Barriss and his swatting crimes had inadvertently led to the death of a completely innocent man.
That's crazy,
This was the
bro.
first reported fatality related to swatting in the history of the United States, and the event would make world news headlines.
Developing right now, a false 911 call led to a deadly officer-involved shooting in Wichita.
Damn.
Officers called to a home after a report of a man being shot in the head and two people being held hostage. When officers arrived, Andrew Finch answered the door, they say, and they also say they gave him commands to put his hands up. Moments later, they say he reached down to his waist and quickly pulled them up. An officer thought he pulled out a weapon and opened fire.
We believe this incident is a case of swatting, which is the act of deceiving emergency services into sending a police response to another person's address.
In the wake of this deadly swatting, the online community quickly pointed at Swatistic as likely being the individual who called it in. And Swatistic, aka Tyler himself, did little to deny his involvement in the situation. In a baffling turn of events, Tyler would make a series of tweets downplaying his role in the situation, and even makes a now historically infamous appearance on Keemstar's Drama Alert as Swatistic, essentially confessing that he was the one who called in the SWAT.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the alleged swatter on here, Swatistic. So you were involved in this swatting where the 28-year-old man was shot and killed, correct?
Allegedly, I was involved.
Allegedly. Well, you took responsibility on Twitter, and then your Twitter got suspended, right?
I was minding my own business at the library. Someone contacted me and said, "Hey, dude, this fucking retard just gave me his address and he thinks nothing's gonna happen. You wanna, prove him wrong?" And I said, "Sure. I love swatting kids who think that nothing's gonna happen." And then I followed the kid that he wanted me to swat, and the kid that he wanted me to swat sent me a DM saying,
He just
basically
snitched on
messaged me with
himself,
an
bruh.
address saying, "Well, I'm waiting for you to do something, pussy, this and that," and then, an attempt was made to swat that address.
So you swatted that address, correct?
Sure.
Okay,
Right.
so you swatted.
He
the
said
address,
allegedly,
you
then
put
he
in the
goes in
fake
on deep.
hostage situation, correct?
Yep.
And then this guy gets killed.
Snitch.
That's what happened, I guess.
And you said
it's pretty
you said this on Twitter. You said, "I didn't get anyone killed because I didn't discharge a weapon, and being on a SWAT member isn't my profession." So do you
I
take
did read that.
right? Do you take any responsibility for what happened?
You could point the finger at the cop who killed someone. You could point the finger at the guy who made the call. You could point the finger at the person who provided the address saying, "Oh, look, this is where I live. Go ahead and swat me."
Do you feel sad about it? Like, if I caused somebody to die like that, I wouldn't be able to sleep. Is there any empathy?
It's my personal belief that I didn't cause someone to die. I guess.
He just snitched on himself, literally.
Tyler attempted to downplay his involvement in the death of Andrew Finch and likely thought he would get away with this crime using VPNs and voice over IP masking. But fortunately, this delusional cyber criminal would be proven wrong, as detectives would eventually manage to connect Tyler Barriss to the SWATistic persona thanks to a series of text messages Tyler exchanged with an undercover agent who posed as a SWATistic fan. On the evening of December 29th, just one day after the deadly swatting had taken place, Los Angeles police would track down Barriss, arrest him, and he was taken into custody. His online reign of terror was finally over. In the wake of his arrest, Tyler Barriss was charged with close to 50 crimes related to cyberstalking and conspiracy. Barriss would enter a guilty plea, and in March of 2020, he was sentenced to serve 20 years in prison for his swatting crimes. Casey Viner, the teenage gamer that solicited the service of Tyler Barriss, was charged with 1 count of conspiracy and 1 count of obstructing justice. In September of 2019, Viner was sentenced to serve 15 months. Shane Gaskill, the gamer that sent Mr. Finch's address to Tyler Barriss, was charged with wire fraud. And in September of 2022, he was sentenced to serve 18 months in prison. Justin Rapp, the policeman responsible for shooting Mr. Finch, was never charged with any crime and kept his job despite what had happened. Rapp was in fact later promoted to detective in 2022. This
crazy.
detective has been on the receiving end of civil suits from the Finch family. These suits have thus far been unsuccessful in regard to legally holding the man responsible for the death of Mr. Finch. It's sad to say, but the family of the deceased victim has faced nothing but tragedy and adversity in the wake of their family member's senseless death. The situation is truly heartbreaking.
Have you shot
Finch.
herself?
It's sad to say, but the family of the deceased victim has faced nothing but tragedy and adversity in the wake of their family member's senseless death. The situation is truly heartbreaking.
Damn, bruh.
The Wichita swatting incident is deeply tragic in numerous ways, and it's also extremely infuriating to me that some petulant online loser's actions can result in the death of a totally innocent man. If there's anything at all positive to come out of this case, it's that police departments around the US now take swatting far more seriously, and some are given training regarding the swatting phenomena. Additionally, swatting has become widely understood by the public and is now almost unanimously frowned upon by the internet masses. It's just a shame that it took a man's death for people to see swatting for what it really was. It's not some fucked up prank that gamers use to get back at each other. It's a serious crime with life-threatening implications. The story of Tyler Barriss will go down as a cautionary tale for any who dare to turn to the criminal world of swatting as a means of settling online scores. Not only are their lives on the line, you just might end up spending the rest of yours in prison. And that was the story of Tyler Barriss and the Wichita swatting case.